Start on our backs today. So just coming onto your back. And when you get there, just give yourself a nice little gentle squeeze. So first thing in the morning, that might mean that you're holding the backs of your thighs and you're not squeezing in very deep, but you're just listening to your body mostly. Can rock a little bit from side to side here, kind of just massaging the lower back out. And then let's place our feet down on the floor, take them as wide as your mat, and then just allow the knees to knock in towards each other. And then let's reach our arms up towards the ceiling, so fingertips towards the ceiling. And then you're gonna cross your right arm on top. You're gonna give yourself a little squeeze here. You're gonna take your fingertips underneath your shoulder blades and then just gently pull them apart. You might feel a little stretch in that right arm, upper arm. You might feel a deeper stretch even in the shoulders. Good, and then just relax that. And then just take a few breaths here. So maybe you're gonna need a nice inhale through your nose and then an exhale through your mouth, just letting the breath go. Do that a few times. So start to land on your mat, start to land inside your body. So paying attention to how things are feeling. And then eventually you begin to find that rhythm of your Ujjayi breath, inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your nose. Keeping the length of the inhale, the length of the exhale really nice and even. And just soaking up that sound of your breath, using that sound to help quiet and focus the mind. Easier said than done. You are going to get distracted by sounds happening around you. You just get distracted by the sounds coming into your head. That's all good. We're never going to completely turn that off, but we do find these like little pockets of stillness, and we start to thread more of those together. You can just keep your eyes closed here as you inhale, reach fingertips back up towards the ceiling, and then recross with that left arm on top. And then just walk those fingertips underneath your shoulder blades, if possible in your body. Just go as far as you can. And then kind of stretch the shoulder blades apart. You're gonna feel an intense stretch in the arms. And then relax. So again, just here, breathing in constructive rest. Have you started to it almost happens without us knowing that we're doing it. Good morning, Susie. Good, few more breaths here. Good, take a nice deep inhale, full complete exhale, and then just release your arms by your side, heel toe your feet so that they're about hips distance apart. We're gonna keep our right leg, our right knee bent. No, I'm sorry, our left knee bent. We're gonna hug our right knee into our chest. It's early, I can talk, I promise. We're gonna interlace our fingers around this thigh. And as much as possible, try to keep the back of the body resting on the mat. If you're popping up a lot, you might wanna grab a blanket or a block just to give yourself a little support. So keep rooting down into that left foot. And we're gonna do a little asymmetric stretching here. And we wanna try to create space in this lower right waist. So I want you to really vigorously start to press that right leg forward. But at the same time that you're doing that, you're pulling back vigorously with your hands. So there's definitely a lot of effort here. Keep breathing. And then just pause there, take a couple of breaths. This is also a good little stretch to do if you ever get SI joints, so sacroiliac stuff, kind of, you would feel that on the lower side. Sometimes we mistake it for lumbar pain, but it's usually just on one side, left or right. All right, so here we go. Nice deep inhale. As you exhale, press forward with your leg, pull back with your arms, let the shoulder blades relax down into your mat or your blanket as much as possible. Keep breathing, keep the face, the jaw nice and soft. And then just relax. Couple of breaths here. So we're going to do one more of these. This time you have the option, if you would like, to take your left leg straight on the mat. So keep those toes pointing up so you're really pressing into the center of the heel. Left thigh is really heavy, so you still feel the back side of your body pressing evenly. This is going to stretch out the top of the leg, give you a little hip flexor stretch. If it doesn't feel good to do this, just bend the knee again. All right, so nice deep inhale. And then as you exhale, press that leg forward, pull back vigorously with your arms. So you're basically just stuck in space, but you're working hard. There's a lot going on. Good, and then just release. Again, hug the knees in, rock a little bit from side to side. And you might already be noticing that there's a little more movement in your body. You're able to squeeze in a little deeper. You might not be there yet. So some days it takes us a little longer, especially these morning practices. So right leg comes on the mat, ankle underneath knee, and then the same thing here. So interlacing, fingertips around that thigh, left thigh, and then take a nice deep inhale. As you exhale, press forward with that left leg as you pull back with your arms. So using a lot of strength here. Breath smooth and steady, inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your nose, and really trying to find space in that lower left waist. And release. Just take a breath or two here. I'm going to do one more set, a couple more sets. All right, here we go. Nice deep inhale. Exhale, just find that asymmetric work. So pushing and pulling at the same time. So you feel pretty steady and stable here. Again, try to let those shoulder blades release into the mat underneath you. Good, release, take a little break, and then play around with extending that right leg to straight. This side might feel different, so if it feels like you can extend that leg and keep it really active and engaged, just bend the knee again. Nice deep inhale. Good, and then exhale, press forward, pull back. So you almost get this little scissoring action, so it kind of feels that right hip is drawing back as your left hip draws forward. So some of that feeling that we get in our crescent pose, in our warrior one pose, just doing it laying down. Good, and then release, hug knees into your chest and just keep your knees squeezing in like that. Take your arms out wide in a T shape. Nice, deep inhale here. As you exhale, drop the knees off to the right, either looking straight up at the ceiling here, or gazing out over your left fingertips. And again, you want your shoulder blades pressing onto the mat, your head pressing into the mat. If that's not happening today, give yourself a little support. And then in this twist, just really feel those left ribs release down towards the earth. Soak up that sound of your breath, really come into that space there. Good, as you inhale, knees come to center. And then as you exhale, you drop them off to the left. Try to let that right shoulder blade feel really heavy in the mat. You can be gazing straight up at the ceiling. You might roll onto that right cheek, gazing out over your fingertips. Feeling these left or right ribs rather just releasing down towards the mat, even though we're twisted to the left here. Good, inhale up to center. Squeeze the knees in, and then you have the option this time to start rolling forward and back. So kind of massaging the spine out. Some days this feels good, some days it doesn't. If this is a doesn't day, just roll off to one side. Otherwise, you kind of get a little momentum, rock all the way up, and then transition into your tabletop position. Good, so land with shoulders over wrists, fingers spreading a little bit, pressing evenly. So that just helps to engage the arms. It also helps to support the wrists. And then we have our knees underneath our hips, and we begin to move into our cat-cow stretch here. So as you reach back through your toes, kind of firm that your shins down into the mat. Inhale, arch into your lumbar. Feel the chest come forward through the gates of your shoulders. Exhale, press the mat away, let the neck really release. And that's probably the trickiest thing to find. So as we're doing this today, let's really work on breathing some space into the back of the neck, particularly as we come into that cat stretch. You're really just moving at a pace that feels good in your body. You're not too slow, you're not too fast, you're just listening to what it is you need this morning. And then we inhale, come back to neutral spine here. So we're neither arching nor rounding. We feel very stable and strong. Start to feel your outer hip squeeze in, and that's going to even engage the glutes a little bit. So hold on to that. We're going to come into asymmetric stretch here. So as you inhale, right leg, left arm, lift and extend. Keep those right toes pointing down towards the mat. The right hip likes to open up sometimes. So again, think that idea of the outer hip squeezing in towards each other. And then you can take that arm bone, or the arm rather, and just plug it in to the shoulder socket. Gaze is an inch or two in front of your fingertips. So again, we're just finding like this easy place in the neck. And then these, again, this is a nice asymmetric stretch. So really great for a little tractioning in the spine, helping you to find some space. Also a nice little balance pose. One more deep inhale. Exhale, release that down, and then we're going to take the opposite side. So just find those outer hips squeezing in, find your belly pulling in and up a little bit. As you inhale, left leg lifts. It's really active. The toes are pointing down. It is as though you are standing on that foot, that leg. So it is in mountain pose. And then the arm, right arm, plugs into that shoulder socket. Notice if you're overarching in your lower back at all, just firm the belly button towards those back ribs. Gaze soft and steady. And definitely a little effort to be here. You might notice these micro movements happening in your body. You might even fall out. No big deal if that happens. Good. Exhale. Release that. Take a couple rounds of your cat-cow. Good. Come back to your neutral spine. Walk your hands forward a couple of inches. Keep the belly engaged. Shift forward. As you exhale, squeeze the elbows in. Lower an inch, 2 inches, no more than halfway. So shoulders in line with your elbows. Inhale, press up. So little mini chaturanga. Don't be fooled. These are really hard. Exhale, lower. Good. Inhale up. Exhale, lower, pause here. Take an inhale, gaze forward. And then land in one piece on your belly as you exhale. Good, so reaching back through all 10 toes. We're gonna get into the shoulders a little bit here. Bring your arms by your side. So for this first one, we'll just bring our palms to face in towards the midline. Lower onto your forehead. Really anchor down into the feet. So feel the legs engage, feel the glutes engage a little bit here. As you inhale, head, chest, arms reach. Good. Feel the shoulder blades really squeeze in towards each other. So they're squeezing in towards the center of your back. And then feel the shoulder heads lift up towards the ceiling. And then you're anchoring down nice and vigorously into your feet, so you're getting that support. Good. As you exhale, you lower down. So this time as we come up, if it is available to you, if you have the flexibility in your shoulders, you interlace your hands at the small of your back. If you know that you tend to be a little hyper flexible in that elbow joint, you're going to keep a little bend in your elbows, and it's going to actually give you more stretch. If that is just absolutely impossible in your body, you just stick with that variation that we just did. All right. So just observe what index finger is on top. And then here we go. So rooting down into your feet, rooting into your hip bones, your pubic bone. Keep all of that anchoring as you inhale, head and chest lift. And then you start to extend your fingertips towards your wrist any amount. Make sure that you're rolling a little bit to the outer edges of the feet. Use your inhale to help you find a little lightness and lift. Good. One more deep inhale. Definitely feeling this stretch in the shoulders. As you exhale, you lower down. And then just recross. So the opposite thumb and index finger come on top, or you just stick with hands by the side variation. So this time as we come up, you have the option to lift your legs as well. Now, as you go there, if it feels uncomfortable in your lower back, you just place them back down. So here we go. Nice deep inhale. Let's do a full complete exhale. Anchor down. And then this time as you inhale, perhaps everything lifts up. Keep the legs really active. Still find that feeling of rolling to the outer edges of the feet. And think extension forward in the upper body and then lift. And then also think extension back through the legs and then lift. Again, a little hyper flexible in your elbows like I am. Little bend there. It's actually going to give you a bigger stretch in the shoulders, which feels really nice. Nice deep inhale. As you exhale, lower. And then just make a pillow with your hands. Turn your cheek to one side. You can waggle the hips back and forth a little bit here. And then just turn your cheek to the other side. And then fingertips underneath your shoulder heads, elbows squeezing in. So just moving into a little Bhujangasana Cobra. You're using your back muscles to help you extend forward and up into this, so not pressing into your hands. As you inhale, come on up. So it's that same feeling that we just had in our Bhujangasana. Exhale, lower. Inhale, extension forward, and then some lift. Legs active and supporting you. Inhaling up. Good. Exhale, lower. Inhale up, hold here. And then let's just start to gaze out over that right shoulder. Just go to the point where you're feeling a stretch. If it's uncomfortable, you can just keep looking forward. Good. Inhale to center. And then exhale. Start to look over that left shoulder. And come back to center. From here, we press to our tabletop, curl our toes under, find our first downward facing dog of the day, maybe of the week. Hopefully not of the year. That's okay if it is. And then just take a moment here, fidget around, just find some movement, pedal back and forth between the feet. You can shift hips to one side, then the other. So do all the things that you like to do in your downward dog to just kind of explore your body. Some of us like to just find a place of stillness right away as well. That is also a good thing. This looks good, Erin. And eventually you do start to move towards that place of stillness. Just peek forward between your hands. Make sure that your arms are about shoulders distance apart. You can turn the fingers out slightly if the shoulders are tighter, but they're spreading, they're pressing evenly, and then start to squeeze your forearms in towards each other. So it's like you're gonna squeeze the mat in towards the center. Notice how that turns the upper arms on, so you start to find a little more widening across the backs of the shoulders. And then as you let your neck release, so your ears line up with your biceps, You're gazing between your feet and you're just making sure that they're about hips distance apart. Second and third toe, point forward. You can always have a little bend in your knees, especially these first downward dogs of the day. But if it's feeling okay, you can also start to release your heels down towards the mat as you stretch your sit bones up towards the ceiling. And then feel the front of the thigh firm to the back of the thigh. So the whole body is really active and engaged here. And we're going to take a couple more breaths. And it's finding this place of stillness. And then nice and slow, like let it feel like a little walking meditation. Begin to walk your feet forward to meet your hands. All right, so from here you can have a little bend in your knees. We're going to bring our hands to our shins or our thighs. Fingertips might be on the floor. Chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. As you exhale, you fold in. So like a little standing cobra pose here. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, release. One more. Inhale. Press hands into thighs or shins. Exhale. Release in. So release your fingertips down. Do find a bend in your knees if you don't have one. And then slowly start to roll on up to standing. When you get there, just give the shoulders a little roll out so you can roll back and then forward. And then roll back again. And then release your arms by your side, peek down at your feet. So hips distance apart, you can be standing with feet together if you feel balanced there. Second and third toe point forward. Direct your tailbone down, lengthen through the sides of your waist. Feel that openness across your heart and chest. And we move into some half sun salutes. So as you inhale, you can reach arms out and up or you can stretch them forward. As you exhale, same thing. You can swan dive in, kind of dive down the center. Inhale, lengthen forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold in. Press down into your feet. Feel your arches lift and carry you all the way up to standing. Exhaling, hands come together at your heart. Good. Inhaling, reaching Utthita Hastasana in Tadasana. Exhale through your nose, fold in Uttanasana. Inhale, half forward fold, Ardha Uttanasana, shoulder blades release towards your tailbone. As you exhale, release back in. Pressing into your feet, stretching arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. 3 more, just moving with your breath. You can close your eyes if you know these well and that feels good. Enjoy how these half sun salutes feel. Enjoy how this idea of vinyasa, connecting movement with breath feels. It creates this nice rhythm in our body. And just gently warming up the spine here. And there's no rush when you're done with your third round. You're just pausing in your mountain pose, palms together at your heart. Breath smooth and steady. Gaze soft and gentle. Eyes might be closed. All right, so let's add on here. Start to wake up the rest of the body. So as you exhale, release your arms by your side. As you inhale, arms reach out and up. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest lengthens forward, gaze comes forward. Keep that right foot forward, stretch that left leg way back. Land on the knee. Good. Inhale, rise up. Low crescent pose. As you exhale, hands come to the mat. Just reach your right knee back. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, shift forward, elbows bend, pause at halfway, land on your belly. Good, inhale into your low cobra, bhujangasana. Press to your tabletop here, curl your toes under, downward facing dog. As you inhale, lift your left leg. Exhale, use your belly to help step that foot through, land on your right knee. Good, direct tailbone down, lengthen through the sides of the waist. Inhale, arms reach up. Good. As you exhale, hands come to the mat, curl those right toes under, firm that thigh up, and then you're gonna step your right foot to meet your left foot at the top of the mat. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. Pressing into your feet, stretch arms out and up. Good, as you exhale, hands come together at your heart. One more like that. So just doing the modified crescent pose, back knee down. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, find space as you fold in. Inhale, chest lengthens. Left foot stays forward this time. Step right leg back. Land on that right knee. Inhale, one breath. Come on up, low crescent, beautiful. As you exhale, hands come down. Bring that left knee back to meet your right knee. Take an inhale. Good, and then as you exhale, shift forward. Modified chaturanga. You are welcome to do full if you practice that. I'm not going to cue it today. Inhale into your low cobra. Exhale, pass through your tabletop into your downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts. As you exhale, step that foot through, land on your left knee. Good, inhale, reach arms up, so low crescent pose. And then as you exhale, hands come to the mat, curl left toes under, step that foot to meet your right foot. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, press into your feet, stretch arms out and up. Good, exhale, hands come together at your heart. So adding on, inhale, arms reach. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, chest lengthens forward. So bend your knees, step your left foot way back. Make sure you're not on a tightrope. We're gonna keep those toes curled under this time. Find a little bend in your left knee. With that bend, rise up into your crescent pose. So take an inhale here. Exhale, bend down a little deeper. Inhale, both legs press to straight. Draw right hip back, left hip forward. It's like that stretch we did on the mat at the beginning. Exhale, bend both knees. Nice. Inhale, firm the muscles above the knees, straighten the legs. Exhale in. Good. Inhale, legs straighten. All right, so this time, we come to our crescent pose. So maybe you keep that back leg straight if there's that opening in the hip flexor. Otherwise, you do bend the knee a little bit. We want to direct our tailbone down here. And then finally, feel that sternum lift. Maybe bring your gaze up. Perhaps press palms together. As you exhale, hands come to the mat. So step back to your plank pose. And then lower to knees, or you can do full chaturanga. Pause at halfway. Come to your belly. Inhale, low cobra. As you exhale, pull back, downward dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, step that foot through, walk it to the left. So you want to make sure that you're on train tracks as opposed to balance beam. Find a little bend in that right knee. Start to direct your tailbone down and then use those actions, outer hip squeeze in to rise up into your crescent pose. Good. So nice deep inhale. Exhale, bend that back leg a little more. And then inhale. Squeeze the outer hips in, firm the muscles above the knee, legs come straight. Exhale, kind of waking everything up here. Inhale, legs press to straight, beautiful work. Couple more. Exhale. Good, inhale, legs come to straight. All right, and then from here, so again, if you're a little more open in your hip flexors, if you like that stretch, you can keep that right heel pressing back, this leg straight. and bend in to the left knee. If it's impossible to do that and get this 90-degree bend in your left knee, find a little bend in that right knee so you can direct your tailbone down. Beautiful work. Imagine that somebody is pulling you up from your wrists, and then maybe start to bring your gaze up. Maybe press palms together. As you exhale, hands come to the mat. Step your right foot to meet your left foot at the top of the mat. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, press into your feet. Stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Beautiful work. Inhale, reaching up. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward, left foot stays forward. Reach your right foot way back. So again, we're gonna inhale, rise up into our crescent. So the version of that feels good, little bend in the back knee is fine. Bring your palms to face towards forward, and then make little fists. And then like you're moving through like cement, as you exhale, pull down. Try to get those shoulder blades to squeeze in towards each other. Try to get the elbows to squeeze in. Same thing. Press up with some effort. It's like you're using a make-believe weight machine here. Exhale, pull down. Feel that stretch across the back of the body, the openness across the front of the body. Inhale, press up. Good. Exhale, pull down. Great work. Find your belly if you've lost it. Inhale, press up. So the lower belly's pulling it up. Release the hands. Maybe palms press. Gaze up. As you exhale, hands frame that left foot. So see if you can keep your hips as slow. Sneak that left foot back. It's not easy to do. And then shift forward. Come to knees lower. Halfway pause. And then onto your belly. Inhale. Low cobra. Exhale, tabletop to downward dog. All right, inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, step that foot through. Make sure you're not on a tightrope. Modify that back leg as you need to. Inhale, rise up into your crescent pose. Bring your palms to face forward, make fists. Nice and slow. Exhale. Pull down, shoulder blades squeeze in, openness across your heart and chest. Inhale, press up. Nice work. Exhale, release down. Make sure that you're directing your tailbone down towards the floor. Good. Inhale, up. Okay, one more. Exhale, pull down. Good. Inhale, press up, release hands. Maybe bring your gaze up, maybe press palms together. As you exhale, hands come to the mat. Step your left foot to meet your right foot. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, press into your feet. Stretch your arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. And then just pause here, take a few breaths. So perhaps eyes are closed. The breath may have sped up, so I'm definitely feeling some heat. These are good things, but just give yourself a little break here, a little moment to kind of pause and reset, check in. Good, and then blink your eyes open. If you do have blocks at your home practice, just grab one or both and just have them at the top of the mat, just in case you need them. You may or may not. And we're gonna do a little flow into some more external poses. So been really neutral, working the crescent pose. We're gonna start to get a little hip opening here. So standing at the top of your mat in your Tadasana pose. Get so nice and tall, nice and steady here. As you inhale, arms reach out and up. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Good, inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. So let's bend our knees, plant our palms this time. Step your right foot way back. then your left. Take an inhale here in your full plank. You can always use knees today. And then as you exhale, knees come down, elbows bend, hover at halfway, and then lower all the way down. Inhale, low cobra. Exhale, press back, downward facing dog. All right, so inhale, lift that right leg. Keep your hips nice and even. Feel the outer hip squeeze in. And then as you exhale, we're gonna step that foot through between our hands. So just keep your fingertips on the floor. They could be on blocks here. Heel toe your right foot to the left twice, and then spin into the back edge of that left foot. So those toes are pointing towards the upper left-hand corner of your mat. All right, so fire up the legs. You have this nice steep bend in this right foot. You are heel to arch, up and over, Virabhadrasana 2. So as you first settle into this pose, what tends to happen sometimes is that we're hinging forward at this right hip. So imagine that somebody's pulling you from your left wrist. Your torso is parallel to the long edge of your mat. So sometimes there's a little twist here too. So drag those left ribs back, and then you're just gazing soft and gentle out over those right fingertips. And then let's just get into the legs a little bit here. So as you inhale, press to the inner edge of the foot, firm the muscles above that right knee, bring that leg to straight, arms reach up and overhead. Good. Exhale, back in, Virabhadrasana 2. Nice work, Erin. Inhale. So moving nice and slow. Again, kind of trying to turn this into isometric stretching. So we're kind of using our own body to create the resistance. Let's exhale, come on in. And then let's get into the shoulders here. So we're gonna give ourselves a little hug. So you're gonna take your right arm on top, left elbow underneath. So you can just stay here, kind of holding onto those shoulder blades, lifting elbows up. You might be able to bring the backs of your hands together. You might be able to press palms together and then start to lift elbows up towards the ceiling. Notice if you started to grip those right toes, press into the four corners of the feet instead. Good, I know the legs are screaming. Let's go ahead. The arms might be screaming too, the shoulders. Release out. And then as we exhale, we windmill arms up and over. All right, so options here. You simply step to your downward facing dog. You can step to downward dog, come to plank. You can step to plank. So little chaturanga, vinyasa, if you want more heat. So at this stage of the game, a lot of times we need a little less. So really listen to that, honor that. All right, and then we take it to the second side. So as you inhale, your left leg lifts. Exhale, use your belly to help step that foot through between your hands. Good, and then, so just staying here, that back leg really strong, heel toe, your left foot to the right twice. And then spin into the back edge of your right foot. So those toes are pointing towards the upper right-hand corner of your mat. Your heel to arch here, keep this nice deep bend in the front knee. And then you windmill up and over. And then again, those little alignment points. So make sure you're not leaning forward here as though you're gonna come into your side angle pose. So upright your torso, and then wrap those left ribs slightly forward. Gaze out over your left fingertips. And then really begin to press to the inner edge of this left foot as we inhale. Straighten that front leg, arms reach up overhead. Exhale in, feel the shoulder blades release down. Good, inhaling up. Exhale in, beautiful work. One more, inhale. And exhale. So you can bring your gaze forward. We're gonna give ourselves a little hug. Left arm is gonna come on top. So elbows can stack, especially if you're tighter in the shoulders. They do start to lift as your tailbone, or as your shoulder blades release towards your tailbone. Maybe you can bring the backs of your hands or your palms to press. And then lift elbows higher as you sink shoulder blades lower. Breath smooth and steady. Don't be shy about getting into this pose, and then make sure that the Back edge of the right foot is pressing, so that leg is really active as well. Good. Inhale, stretch your arms out. And then as we exhale, we windmill arms up and over. Options, step to plank, step to downward dog, transfer to plank, just step to dog, hold it. Chaturanga vinyasa if you want one. Not necessary. And then we're back in our downward facing dog. All right. So from here, inhale, lift your right leg, keep hips even, feel them squeeze in towards each other. Exhale, step that foot through. Heel toe it to the left twice. Spin into the back edge of your right foot. And then you're gonna grab your block at the top of your mat. And you're gonna bring it to the outer edge of that right foot. If you know that you're tighter, go higher with the block. It's just gonna give you more space. So start to root down into that block. Spin your chest open. And then extend that top arm up. So here we are in our Parsvakonasana. This left hip is releasing down. With this variation with the arm behind the leg, you can really start to firm that right knee into your right elbow. Nice work, Erin, that looks great. As you're here, you're inhaling for length through that right side. And then as you exhale, you're wrapping those right ribs up a little bit. Gaze can be down, forward, or up. And then let's get into the shoulder again here. So start to spin the palm to face behind you. Good. Try not to lose all of this openness in your chest as you bend the elbow. Grab a piece of shirt behind you. You might be able to get your fingertips to that right thigh. And then you lean that left shoulder head back wherever you're at. All right, so a couple times here. Inhale. Press that front leg towards straight. For most of us, it's not going to go there. Exhale in. Good, inhale. Exhale in. Good, one more, inhale. Let's keep this leg straight here. Extend that top arm up. So here we are in our triangle pose. Shoulder blades stacking on top of each other. Take up lots of space, stretch out in all directions. This is my favorite pose in all the land. Deep inhale. And then as we exhale, we start to bend that right knee, release down, spin onto those left toes. I'm just saying, go back to downward dog. If you are dying for your little modified chaturanga vinyasa, by all means take it. But we're nearing the end of things here. We're building lots of heat. So maybe a little less is more. Okay, inhale, left leg lifts. As you exhale, step that foot through between your hands. Good. Heel toe it to the right and then spin into the back edge of your right foot and then just grab your block. So press your hand into that block, firm this left elbow into that upper left arm, and then start to spin your ribs open. As you're doing that, you're especially lengthening through that left side. Notice if the back foot's getting a little lazy. Sometimes in this pose, we actually need to sneak that back foot in a little bit, especially if it feels like you're sliding on your mat. Feel the shoulder blades stack on top of each other. I'm having a hell of a time talking today. Good, Parsvakonasana, extended side angle pose. Good, start to externally rotate. So spin your palm to face behind you. Bend the elbow. So you can just kind of press the back of the hand into your back. Try to get as close to that lower left waist as you can. You might be able to get fingertips to that inner left thigh. All right, and then nice and slow as you inhale, press to the inner edge of that left foot. Start to straighten any amount. Exhale and keep that back leg really strong. Inhale. Good, exhale, sinking in. Good, one more, inhale. Press here. Release the wrap, stretch out triangle pose. See if you can lengthen a little more through that left side of your waist. Roll the ribs up. Maybe bring your gaze up if it feels okay to do so in your neck. And then as you exhale, start to bend that left knee, unwind here. Take one final chaturanga vinyasa if you would like. Otherwise, you pull back to your downward facing dog. And then from your downward facing dog, whenever you get there, just find a quick little child's pose. So lower to your knees. If you want a little more hip stretch, you take the knees pretty wide. If that doesn't feel good in your body, they can be a little closer together. Arms can be extended forward. They can be by your side here. Whatever is feeling good. Slow the breath down. So we start to shift gears here. We start to wind down. If your arms are by your side, reach them forward and just start to walk your hands off to the right. So just finding a little twist here. And then walk back to center and off to the left, wrapping those right ribs towards that left thigh. Good, come back to center. And then slowly roll on up. We're gonna come onto our back. We're gonna do a couple of bridge poses here. And then just make sure that you have your strap handy if you do have one. If you don't have one, we can modify, but just set up with your strap close by. All right, so on our backs again. Landing with our ankles underneath our knees. So we're pretty warmed up here, so these back bends are gonna feel really nice. Bring your arms by your side. And then let's take a nice deep inhale here. As you're doing that, notice the expansiveness of the rib cage. And this is such a great pose to feel the breath. And then as you exhale, so there's a little bend, a little curve in your lower back. As you exhale, I want you to start to lose a little bit of that. So you direct your tailbone forward so much so that you press into your feet. Hips start to lift. Legs are really active here. Glutes are engaged. The tendency is to roll to the outer edge of the feet, so maybe press a little more to the inner edge of the feet. And then a couple of options. We've got into the shoulders quite a bit, so most of us can probably interlace fingers underneath us, roll to the outer edges of the shoulders. Another great variation is to grab the edges of your mat, kind of walk your hands closer to your feet. And then again, just you're able to snuggle your shoulder blades underneath you, so it's like they become feet, so you get a little more openness across your heart and chest, a little more lift there. And then just notice how good the breath feels here in this pose, especially on the inhale. Try to send it out to all directions. So you're really filling up. Keep those inner thighs releasing down towards the mat as you extend that tailbone gently forward. Deep inhale. Release your hands if they're underneath you. As you exhale, slowly lower down. Just take a couple of breaths here. So we're going to do another one of these. A little variation. So this time, let's come into our robot arms. So arms are squeezing in towards each other. You're rooting down into the top of the arm. Elbows are bent. Fingertips are pointing up towards the ceiling. And then inhale, find that expansiveness of the rib cage. Notice how there is that natural curve in your lumbar, your lower back. As you exhale, start to lose a little of that curve, so much so that you press into your feet and start to lift your hips up. Maybe you can kind of squeeze these arms in a little closer to the mid-body. And then heel toe your feet together. Keep rooting down into that left foot. Keep both hip bones lifting evenly. You can even take your fingertips towards those hip bones. Bend your right knee in. And then extend that leg straight. Press up a little higher. Press down into the shoulders, those arms vigorously. Good, release down. Good, take an inhale, find center. Full, complete exhale. And then inhale, bend that left knee in, extend up to straight. So Ekapada, Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. There will be a quiz on that. Extra points for spelling it correctly. So one-legged pose and bridge, essentially. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift. And then as you exhale, you slowly lower down. Let's just come into a happy baby here. So you can either grab your thighs and pull down. You might be able to get the outer edges of your feet and gently pull. And this is going to feel really nice. You could even rock back and forth, side to side a little bit here. Good, and then just release. So find your strap. And do our little Setu or our Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana supine version here. Another mouthful. All right, so go ahead and just bend your right knee in. And you're gonna take that strap around the sole of the foot, a little bit below the bridge of the foot, a little bit above the arch. For those of us that are a little more flexible, you might be able to take your peace fingers and grab that big toe. If you do that at the expense of lifting up, just go ahead and use a strap. And if you don't have a strap, you can simply interlace your fingers around your thigh, kind of that variation that we did at the beginning of class. All right, so let's just take our right thumb into that right hip, gently pull forward. Of course, if you're holding onto the toe, don't do that, but just kind of find that idea. Good, and then you're gonna make a choice here. Perhaps you start to extend that left leg to straight. Keep it really active. Press into the center of the heel. If it feels like the backside of your body gets uneven, bend the knee again. And then with both straps in your right hand, start to extend that right leg off to the right any amount. You know you've gone too far if that left hip plate starts to pop up off the mat. So you want that real even pressing on the backside of your body. This is a nice little groin stretch. That being said, there's a lot of places you could be feeling this, especially if you tend to be a little tighter in your body. Keep breathing. Back out a little bit if you need to. Less is more. As we inhale, we come back to center. So both straps come into your left hand. If you are able to grab the outer edge of the right foot with your left hand, you can do that. Bring your right arm out in a T shape. And then as we exhale, we start to extend that right leg to the left. The important piece here is to keep your right shoulder blade pressing down. This left hip, or this right hip rather, might lift up off the mat. Your hips might even start to stack. That's okay in this pose, and you're kind of rolling to the outer edge of that left foot. Gaze can be straight up or out over your left fingertips. Even here, can you find a little idea of that thumb pressing that hip crease forward? You can even physically do that if it feels good. Inhale up to center. Good. Bend left knee if it was extended. Just lose the strap. And then we come to the second side. So a little bridge pose setup. Strap goes around the sole of the left foot, or you can hold on with your big toe. Only do that if you're able to keep both shoulder blades pressing down into the mat. All right, so just for a breath or two, if you'd like to take that left thumb into your left hip crease. So find that action of creating space in the lower side of the body. And then maybe you stay here with right knee bent. If you want to play with extending that leg, you can keep this right hip plate pressing down firmly underneath you. Stay here, keep that leg active, toes pointing up towards the ceiling. If that's just not happening, go ahead and bend the knee. All right, deep inhale. Exhale, start to extend. Left leg off to the side any amount. So if this left or right hip plate pops up, you've gone too far, so you back out. So we want this nice firm base underneath us. How does this side feel different in your body? Is it different? Has that right foot fallen asleep? Point those toes up towards the ceiling if that leg is extended. And then inhale up to center. So both straps come to your right hand, or you can grab the outer edge of that left foot with your right hand, left arm out in a T shape. And then as you exhale, you start to extend any amount. Keep drawing that left hip forward. You can use your left thumb there for a breath or two. This is an intense stretch. This is a really great stretch, especially if you tend to get sciatica. It's kind of that asymmetrical shape. So all of this stuff is so great for the entire spine, but especially for the lower back. This is a good one to do a few times a week at least. Pull out the strap while you're binging Netflix. All right, as we inhale, we come up to center. And then just release that strap. Give your knees a squeeze into your chest. Do any little movement here that you need to. And then eventually make your way into your final resting pose. So it could be classic Shavasana today. Arms a little wider than shoulders distance apart, legs a little wider than hips distance apart. You can take legs up a wall if you have one close. Blankets rolled up underneath the knees. If there's any tenderness in your lower back is a great variation. You can also just simply end class as we started in that constructive rest. So knees bent, knocking in towards each other. Let's take one final deep inhale here together. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. And then you soak up these final moments. You melt in. You don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to think about anything just yet. Give yourself that space. Shavasana. Good. Let your next inhale be deeper. Let the breath go and then start to bring some gentle movement back to your body, wiggling fingers and toes, stretching out. So anything that feels good here. And staying soft and quiet, let's roll to the left side today, just finding the fetal position there. And then nice and easy, just using your hands to help you press up to a comfortable seat. Check in, notice how you feel differently than when you started. Send yourself love and gratitude for showing up, for making the effort. It's not always easy to do, but it always makes a difference. It always makes us feel good. So enjoy that feeling you've created the rest of your day, the rest of the weekend ahead. Bring your palms together at your heart and bow your head with a smile.